Hi, it's Dr. Eisman at Jefferson Elementary. One of the things that parents had asked for were tips and tricks for remote learning. So about 10-minute long little video here, and we'll go over these tips and tricks from parents and from our staff. So I want to begin the session by talking about remote learning. Remote learning is different than e-learning. E-learning are going to happen on Fridays, but the e-learnings will be posted lessons, or perhaps they're pre-recorded. Remote learning is when your child's teacher is directly interacting and providing daily instruction. So remote learning, which who would have thought a year ago we'd be doing this, but remote learning is what the kiddos are getting each day. Teacher starts the academic day at 9:15 with a social emotional learning component. And so they talk about how the child is feeling, how they're doing. They talk about resiliency and just those ways of getting to know each other and build that learning community, which is so vital, especially when we're doing things remote. And then the lessons are delivered in art, music, gym, or in math and reading with the teacher directly instructing. And then the child usually has some work that they need to complete later. So that's what we mean when we talk about remote learning. Our first tip is to make sure you have an environment for learning. Now, I've seen lots of different pictures and videos of kiddos with pillows in the bathtub, if that's a nice area that can be quiet, nice quiet corner of their bedroom. But you really want to limit the distractions. So if you've got a nice happy puppy that's barking, perhaps the child could be in a different room. Younger siblings that might come up and pester, if they could be in a different area as well. So giving the child as much privacy so they can interact with their online learning away from media distractions such as the television are really optimal. That way your child can focus on the learning, focus on the interaction with the teacher remotely and their other classmates, and just give them all the attention that they need to learn. Our second little tip is setting a schedule. Now, if you can keep to the school schedule as much as possible, that is optimal. We start at 9:15, we do this, and having that structure really helps kiddos. If you aren't able to do that and your child starts remote learning with the recorded lessons later in the evening, having a schedule for that too, because it's so easy when you don't have a schedule that you stick to kind of wobble and do things a little bit differently a few days later. So having just that set schedule, whether the child starts at 5 o'clock in the evening or 6 o'clock in the evening or at 9:15 or at noon, just making sure that it's the same as much as possible every day and keeping that schedule set. Once you have something that works, stick with it and really encourage avoiding procrastination. You know, if the work is assigned that day, make sure that you get it done that day. And then that way those things don't build up. Third, have your materials ready and organized. And I know that sounds like, oh my gosh, but really, if you're like my house, sometimes I'll have my pencils right here and then I'll go past a little bit later and take a pencil out and not bring it back. So just having all those things right there so your child can access them easily is optimal. Just a little pencil container, a little pencil box, or just a crate with their papers, but just their books. So they've got it right there all the time in the same spot so it doesn't move and they won't lose them. If you're having trouble with your Wi-Fi, we do have some hotspots available through School City of Hammond. Please reach out to us. We will be happy to put you in touch with the tech department. And if you're having trouble with your Chromebook, charging or keeping a charge, again, get in touch with us and we will put you in touch with our technology department downtown. They're working very hard and they do a great job of making sure that our kids are connected and online. Our next tip is make sure the work is completed. As kids get a little bit older, they get a little smarter, and if they click submit, it doesn't mean that it's finished. And so it happens in Google. So if you could go in there periodically and check their work, even their submitted things, see if in fact it is finished, or check on Parent Square and reach out to your child's teacher, because kids are kids, people are people, people make mistakes. Just making sure that that work is completed and getting finished. So you might want to develop a family routine for checking and reviewing those assignments daily. Encourage self-direction. When kiddos are kind of come up against something they don't know, sometimes it's easy to give up. But if you can ask them to say, what if we think about it a different way? Where could you look for that information? Just providing them not with the answer, but as much as scaffolding. And that's really that delicate balance of being a parent and a teacher, a family member and a teacher at this point, because really you don't want to give them the answer because then they'll constantly come to you for it. You want to build up their ability to find those answers and encourage that self-direction, which is a great skill. Help them find their own motivation. I know that for me as an adult, having a checklist is very important. And so then that way you can check things off each time those things are completed. That provides focus for your child, and it provides, again, that structure for them. But it's also important to put in a break in there. I mean, kiddos learn at different rates, and littles have a lot more attention span questions than if they're bigger, right? So if you have a kindergartner or first grader, you're looking at maybe a 10, 15-minute time span of really sticking with something, and then it gets a little bit longer as they get older. So just kind of looking at what works best for your child and figuring those things in. And especially with our littles, but with our bigs too, encourage movement. Get up, move around, dance around, walk around. An important thing with all the screen time is the rule of 20-20. 20 minutes staring at a screen, and then 20 seconds staring off at something 20 feet away. And then that way you kind of give your eyes a little bit of a break. Honor the complexity of learning. And when I say that, just remember that learning is hard. Learning is difficult. It's heavy lifting. And so they've really got to think sometimes. So it's not a typical classroom setting, right? They're in the house. They're not here at school. And not all students learn at the same rate. Just like a vat of popcorn, oil's the same, kernels are the same, but they pop at different times. And we need to honor that, and honor that some things will come much more easily to your child than other things. And letting them know that that's okay. That we're all doing this together and we're going to help them out. Encourage a growth mindset. That has been my mantra all year long. We have learned so much. All of you have, all of us have, since the beginning of this pandemic began. And I just am amazed at how far we've come. So encouraging that growth mindset. We might not be here yet, but we certainly are on that direction. So celebrate those little attainable goals that we can put for ourselves each day. Reading 5 pages, reading 20 pages, but just setting those little goals and celebrating when we get there. Please communicate with us. We are here. Mrs. Wright and myself. The number here is 219-989-50. So say 5710. But that's by extension. So call us here at school. We are more than happy to help you out any way we can. Or reach out to your child's teacher through Dojo or Parent Square daily. I think that it's not a bad idea just to check in there, just to look to see. A lot of teachers post things quite a bit. So checking into those 2 things. Biggest thing, keep in mind it's about the child and not the work. Your child is under a lot of pressure. We all are right now. And so going forward, it's about how they feel about things, how they feel about themselves each day. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty surrounding this entire thing. So if you see your child feeling a little bit more stressed, ease off a little bit and kind of tackle it on next day. And reach out to your child's teacher or myself if we can assist you. This is a link for questions and feedback. I'm going to put it at the bottom of Parent Square. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation and I hope it was helpful, but we really would like to hear your tips and tricks. And we hope you have a wonderful day, and we hope we will be able to see everyone very soon.